Jane Wilson learned very early that life was not fair. She was only 8 years old when her parents died in a terrible car accident on a rainy evening. One moment, she had a loving family. The next, she was standing in a black dress at a funeral, staring at two coffins she could barely understand. After the burial, her Aunt Linda and Uncle Robert took her in. At first, everyone praised them. "You're such wonderful people for adopting her. Jane is lucky to have family like you." Lucky. Jane would grow to hate that word. The moment the visitors stopped coming, everything changed. Her aunt's smile disappeared. Her uncle's kindness vanished. Instead of becoming their daughter, Jane became their servant. Every morning, she woke up before sunrise to clean the house. She washed dishes, mopped floors, cooked meals, did laundry, and if anything wasn't perfect, punishment followed. Sometimes it was harsh words. Sometimes it was worse. "You should be grateful we even took you in," Aunt Linda would say. "You eat our food and live in our house. The least you can do is work." Jane learned to stay quiet. Silence became her shield. The less she spoke, the fewer reasons they found to hurt her. Years passed. The shy little girl grew into a beautiful young woman. But years of abuse had left invisible scars. She never looked people in the eye, never spoke unless necessary, never believed she deserved happiness. Still, she had one dream: college. Education was her only escape. She studied late into the night after finishing chores. When others slept, she read textbooks by flashlight. When others relaxed, she worked. Eventually, her hard work paid off. She earned a scholarship. The day she received the acceptance letter, she cried. Not because she was happy, because for the first time in years, she saw a tiny glimpse of freedom. Unfortunately, freedom wasn't waiting for her, a different kind of pain was. On her first day at college, Jane wore the same faded dress she'd owned for 3 years. Students walked past wearing designer clothes, expensive watches, luxury handbags. She felt invisible. Then she accidentally overheard laughter. Look at her outfit. Did she come here from the 1990s? Poor girl. The group burst into laughter. Jane lowered her head and kept walking. She was used to it. But things only got worse. Weeks turned into months. Jane became the favorite target of a group of wealthy students. Their leader was Sophia Carter. Beautiful, popular, rich, and cruel. Sophia seemed to enjoy humiliating people, especially Jane. One day, Sophia accidentally spilled coffee all over Jane's assignment. Another day, she hid Jane's backpack. Once, she convinced half the class that Jane smelled bad. The laughter echoed through the room. Jane sat silently through it all. Every insult, every joke, every humiliation. Silence. Always silence. Until one afternoon changed everything. Jane was walking home after class. Rain poured heavily from the dark sky. She had no umbrella, no money for transportation. She walked through the storm alone. Suddenly, a speeding car splashed muddy water across her clothes. The vehicle stopped. The rear window rolled down. Inside sat Sophia and her friends. They laughed hysterically. Oops. Sophia waved mockingly. Jane stood frozen in the rain, soaked, humiliated, broken. For the first time, tears escaped her eyes. Not because of the mud. Not because of the bullying. Because she was tired. So unbelievably tired. At that moment, a black luxury car pulled over nearby. The door opened. A tall man stepped out. He wore an expensive charcoal suit. His sharp features and commanding presence immediately drew attention. The laughter from Sophia's car died instantly. The man walked directly toward Jane. Without saying a word, he removed his jacket and placed it gently around her shoulders. "Are you hurt?" His voice was calm, deep, concerned. Jane stared at him in shock. Nobody had asked if she was okay in years. "And no," she whispered. The man glanced toward Sophia's vehicle. One look. That was all it took. Sophia's face turned pale. Even her wealthy family couldn't compare to the man standing before them. Because everyone knew who he was. Michael Blackwood, 32 years old. Billionaire CEO. One of the youngest business leaders in the country. His companies were worth billions. His influence was enormous. And right now, he looked furious. Sophia immediately drove away. Michael turned back toward Jane. "Let me take you home." Jane shook her head. "I don't want to bother you." A faint smile appeared on his face. Too late. That evening, Michael drove Jane home. The journey was quiet. Jane barely spoke. Michael didn't pressure her. Yet somehow, his presence felt comforting. Safe. When they arrived, Jane quickly thanked him and stepped out. But before entering the house, she heard his voice. "Jane." She turned. Nobody deserves to be treated that way. Her eyes widened. Then he drove away. For some reason, those words stayed with her all night. The next day, something unbelievable happened. Jane arrived at campus to discover Michael Blackwood standing on stage. The university president was introducing him as the guest speaker for a leadership conference. Students erupted into applause. Jane froze. Michael spotted her in the crowd and smiled. Sophia noticed. So did everyone else. Whispers spread instantly. Does Michael Blackwood know Jane? Impossible. What's going on? For the first time, Sophia looked nervous. Over the following weeks, Michael continued appearing in Jane's life. Sometimes he visited the university. Sometimes he invited her for coffee. At first, Jane resisted. She couldn't understand why a powerful CEO would care about someone like her. But Michael was patient, kind, different. Gradually, Jane began opening up. She told him about her dreams, her fears, her desire to build a better life. She didn't tell him everything, but she told him enough. One evening, while sitting beside a lake, Michael asked softly, "Why do you always act like you're apologizing for existing?" Jane looked down. She didn't know how to answer. Years of pain couldn't be explained in a single sentence. Michael reached out and gently lifted her chin. "Jane." Her heart raced. "You deserve more than you think." For a moment, neither looked away. Something shifted between them. Something undeniable. Something dangerous. Months passed. Jane's confidence slowly grew. Her grades improved. She made friends. She smiled more often. For the first time in her life, happiness seemed possible. And then everything fell apart. One afternoon, Jane accidentally overheard a conversation. Two executives were speaking outside Michael's office. "You still haven't told her? Michael can't hide it forever." "What happens when she discovers the truth?" Jane frowned. "Truth? What truth?" Before she could hear more, the men noticed her presence and stopped talking. A strange feeling settled in her stomach. That evening, Michael seemed distracted, nervous, unlike himself. When she asked what was wrong, he simply smiled. "Nothing." But Jane knew better. Something was being hidden. Something important. A week later, Jane received an anonymous package. No sender. No explanation. Inside was a photograph. Jane's hands began shaking. The picture showed her parents, standing beside a much younger Michael Blackwood. They were smiling together, as if they knew each other very well. A note fell from the envelope. Jane unfolded it. The words made her blood run cold. Ask Michael what really happened the night your parents died. Jane stared at the message. Again, and again, and again. Her breathing became uneven. What did this mean? How did Michael know her parents? Why had he never mentioned them? And what happened on the night of the accident? For the first time since meeting him, fear replaced trust. That night, Jane drove to Michael's penthouse. Rain hammered against the windows. Lightning flashed across the sky. Michael opened the door. Relief appeared on his face, until he saw the photograph in her hand. His expression changed instantly. Gone was the calm CEO. Gone was the confident billionaire. Now he looked like a man facing a ghost. Jane held up the photo. Her voice trembled. Tell me the truth. Michael closed his eyes. For several seconds, he said nothing. Then he whispered 4 words. Words that shattered Jane's world. I was in the car. Silence. The room seemed to stop breathing. Jane's eyes widened in horror. What? Michael looked at her. Pain filled his face. The kind of pain someone carries for years. The kind that never truly leaves. I was there the night your parents died. Jane stumbled backward, her heart pounding, her mind spinning. Questions exploded inside her. Was he responsible? Was he hiding something? Had their entire relationship been built on lies? And most importantly, what exactly happened that night? Michael took a step forward. Jane, please let me explain. But before he could continue, someone suddenly knocked on the penthouse door. 3 sharp knocks. Michael's face drained of color, as if he already knew who was standing outside. Slowly, he opened the door. A woman entered. Elegant, beautiful, dangerous. And the moment Jane saw her, she noticed something shocking. The woman looked almost exactly like her mother. The stranger's eyes locked onto Jane. Then she smiled. A cold, chilling smile. And said, Hello, Jane. I've been looking for you for 18 years.